If you do go on to enjoy today's video, do me a favour and hit that like button and of course subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. And if you want to avoid the random lottery that is FIFA points, you can go straight to the source with u7buy.com, and of course you can use the code TVM at the checkout to get yourself a discount. What is going on, guys? TVM here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do something today that could be a weekly thing. It depends on how you react to it. So if you do go on to enjoy it, like I said at the very beginning, if you could hit the like button, it would really help me out a lot, and it would give me some indication as to whether you want to see more of this series, I guess. It was requested by someone on the road to glory. It got quite a lot of traction, so I thought I'd give it a go. I do a Team of the Week review every Wednesday as soon as the Team of the Week is announced, but it's just a first glance, and I go through why they're there and who they've missed. But now we can sit down with the actual Team of the Week that is currently in game, and we can go through a few of the players. Well, we'll go through every single one of the players, and we'll basically decide whether it's a good card, a usable card, or just a bad card in general. So first up, we're going to go from right to left on the bench because, well, the reserves, because these are the quote-unquote trash of the Team of the Week, and then we'll get into the better ones as we go. This is a prime example of why Team of the Week needs to change. That card is not usable by anyone. Even if you're a fan of the player or the club, you've picked it up, and you are going to put it on your bench, and you are never going to bring him on unless you're playing squad battles, because you can't do anything with that. It's awful across the board. It's well-rounded, but it's not good enough, like in any area at all. In mid-70s now is just useless. It's a shame, really. He should be 80 rated, and he should have had his stats boosted by an extra 3 nearly everywhere across the board. And then you might be thinking, well, I could kind of use this card, you know? Let's move on to the Australian. This is a bit laughable, really. His reactions are terrible, which is fine because he has insane agility and pace. So that should make him feel somewhat responsive. He's got great stamina. His strength is very good. But, unfortunately, he can't. He's a cam, and he can't pass. He has 70 passing and 69 vision as a cam. That's terrible. But then, to back it up, you could say, oh, well, move him up to a striker then. He's got 72 finishing. What can we use this card for? He'd be better as a centre-back, in all honesty, because of his strength. It's just a waste. Even if you're a fan of him, you're just not going to pick him up. Well, you will, but you'll just put him on the bench. Barrow. This is another prime example of why Team of the Week needs to change, in my opinion. This guy in real life is a very good player. Excellent young prospect. In FIFA, he has no stamina, so you can't play with him past halfway. He has absolutely no balance, no composure. He doesn't feel good on the ball because his ball control and dribbling and reactions are all terrible. And he can't really do much else in the way of midfield because he can't pass the ball. Can he finish? Kind of, yeah. But his composure's so low, you might have trouble with it. It's one of those cards that if real life really did correspond to FIFA, this would be an 80 to 82 rated player, and he would be much, much better than he is right now. But because it doesn't coincide and correspond and link up in any way, this is just far behind where he is in real life. And he was eligible for a Future Stars card, but you know, born in 1998, but EA are obviously not going to give him one, and it's a shame because he is actually a real talent. Let's move on to Texera. Again, it's one of those cards that if you're a fan, you'll pick it up, but you'll probably never really use it outside of squad battles. It's got good dribbling and ball control, very good, well, not very good, but reasonably good short passing, and that's pretty much about it. Everything that sort of goes with it isn't great. You know, his agility, his reactions, his composure, they're all quite bad. His vision isn't quite up to scratch. Anything shooting related just isn't there, and his pace isn't too bad. I'm not going to moan about his pace, and his stamina's low as well. He's just not usable past like 60 minutes, especially for a centre mid who you'd be using a lot to make runs and to come from deep, maybe even as a box to box. 72 stamina is just not good enough. He'd be dead by half time. Let's move on to Frey. This is a very well-rounded card. I'm not going to complain too much about this. They've hit the stamina correctly, 89, which is very good. He's got moderate defensive stats. As a box-to-box midfielder, if I was a fan of that player or the club, I'd be relatively happy, especially with the way that Team of the Week works. I would be happy about that. It's not a bad card. It's sort of a, you know, not bad. Whatever, I'll move on. It's one of those cards. I do like it, to be fair. It's reasonably good. Let's move on to Richarlison. Now, this is the first big boy we come to because I'm sure, I've not looked, but I'm sure this guy commands some sort of a price. You do have to ask yourself why, though, because he doesn't have great stats. His pace is decent. You know, 89 sprint speed is good, but the acceleration isn't, which is a shame. He's got pretty decent attack positioning, finishing, and shot power. Not going to moan there. Shame about the long shots. Short passing isn't really that good. Same with the vision. and then you move into the dribbling, he's not going to feel like a brick, but he won't feel agile either, despite the fact that he has pace. And we know Richarlison in real life has an awful lot of mobility. He just won't feel like that in game because his agility is low. His reactions are 81, which is, we're getting there, but we're not quite there. And the dribbling will help, but the ball control won't. So, yeah, it's sort of, oh, that's good, oh, that's bad, oh, that's good, oh, that's bad. It's a bit of a seesaw situation. He might be one of those overpowered players you can't explain, but we will get into that when we review him a little later, maybe today or tomorrow. Move on to this left forward then from Sweden. He looks like a relatively good card, to be fair. I won't dwell too long on him. Great strength, great stamina. Shame about the vision, but you can boost that if you really need to. Everything else is decent. For an 84 rated card that I would imagine is probably about 20-25k, because I've not looked at the prices of any of these players, I would say that that's not too bad. If you're a fan of him or the club, you'll be relatively pleased with that card, I'm sure. This guy, I mean, great agility and balance, but apart from that, he sort of lacks everything. The stamina is decent. The stamina's in and around where you'd kind of want it to be, minimum. Composure's okay. Ball control, dribbling is, yeah, it's okay. The reactions I wouldn't worry about too much because of his agility and his balance, and the fact that he has moderate dribbling and ball control skills. The rest of it is very middle ground, though, unfortunately. Renato Sanchez, if you don't have the Footmas version, you'll be happy about this. It's not an amazing card, but it's definitely not a bad card. I'd be alright with it. If I didn't have the Footmas, which I do, but if I didn't, I would look to pick this up, assuming it's not too expensive, because of how many good French league players there are out there. Simmons' objective card, for instance, you get a nice strong link there. There are quite a few other French league cards that have come out over the past few weeks and months. If you have any of them, this will be a nice addition. If you don't, then obviously you don't care. Ramirez, stamina just lets him down completely. Pace obviously isn't great for a cam, but the stamina just 100% lets him down. If you want to use this card, you have to use him as a sub, or you have to sub him off around 50-55 minutes, because otherwise he's just going to conk out completely and he'll be useless. He's not an amazing card as it is, to be fair, but even if you do want to use it, the stamina really does hinder you, and that is very, very frustrating. This centre-back, his reactions will cost you because he doesn't have pace, he doesn't have agility or balance. His ball control and dribbling are on the floor as well. His reactions will make him feel like he is a block of wood. Now, the only real way to combat that is to play very, very low drop back. I would say drop back, but just depth in general. Not necessarily drop back, but just depth. If you play one depth, whether it be balanced or pressure on heavy touch or anything, he might feel okay. The acceleration will let him down if he plays high up the field, though. He's gonna get Harry Maguired if he plays anywhere outside of the penalty area, and that's a shame because otherwise it's a relatively good card for an 82. Goalkeepers, I won't dwell on too much. The speed is a little bit low and the positioning isn't great. Let's get into the starting 11 again with Rulli. The positioning isn't great. The handling isn't amazing. Everything else about that card is decent. Just a pro tip, and I mentioned it before, people don't seem to grasp it. If you leave the basic chem cell on a goalkeeper, you get the best of everything. So you get plus 10 on diving, handling, kicking, reflexes and positioning, and you get a plus 5 on speed. So if I were you, I would not put a chem cell on my goalkeeper ever, no matter what the situation is, ever. Just leave it on basic. You get the best of everything, trust me. Let's move on. Lala. Now, he had a player moments card, which, let's be honest, is significantly better than this inform. Is that inform still usable? I mean, it's not usable. It's just not like quick, let's all run out and get it. I mean, it's well-rounded. You can say that. You're never really going to get in front of goal to let one fly, so I wouldn't worry about the long shot power finishing, etc. But, give him a little acceleration, sprint speed boost, and maybe bump up those defensive stats, and you've got yourself a card that is definitely usable. I wouldn't necessarily say put it in your weekend league team, but it's not a terrible card. Just need to hope that he sort of comes in at a very, very low price point. The first big boy to mention, and in fact, we're going to go over to the player sort of comparison screen, where we can really take a look at these cards. So what we have here is 3 cards. The base card, we have the middle ground, which is obviously the 90, and then the 91. You can see that the in-game stats have gone up considerably. The 91 rated card is a lot more expensive than the 90. I am recording this on rewards day as well, so it is sort of only like 2 o'clock, so it's not really like everyone would have opened their rewards. Like, for instance, I haven't. I know a lot of people haven't. So he's probably going to come down a little bit more. He will probably come down even more if EA drop Ones to Watch and Prime Icon. No, play it. Wait, what are they called? Moments, icons. It's just so many. There's so many different versions of one card. It's crazy. Anyway, if they drop the new icons, they drop Ones to Watches, they bring out this whole winter refresh thing that people are expecting on Friday, he will get packed a lot more, and he will probably come down again. But so will the UCL version of this card. I have the UCL because he's untradeable. I wouldn't have chosen to have gone out and got him because he's only got 33 in-game stats more than the base. So if you want my honest opinion, is this card worth picking up? When you realistically look about it, he's only got 75 in-game stats more than his base card. Honestly, I don't think it's worth... Unless you pack him untradeable, I honestly don't think it's worth picking up this version of the card over the base. I just don't see why he doesn't get a boosted by at least 100 over the base card. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Back we go into the rest of the cards then. The fridge. I mean, to be fair, okay, he doesn't have amazing acceleration and sprint speed. We know that. We can give him a shadow. His defensive stats go through the roof. His passing isn't quite great, but if you don't really pass out from the back, you should be fine. His reactions and his composure are not bad. His stamina, don't worry about it for a centre-back, that's fine. His strength is good, aggression's decent. I quite like it. I don't think it's that bad, and I don't think it would be that expensive either, to be fair. So, yeah, not a bad little card. Moving on to Luis Alberto, of course, he does have a headliner, so if you have that, and a lot of people pick that up untradeable through upgrades. If you have that card, obviously you're laughing, but if you don't, the composure is low, but in my experience this year, composure doesn't really do an awful lot. He will be a box-to-box. His short passing and vision are insane, so you should never really misplace a pass. That being said, though, I just feel that there are better cards out there for this particular role. You've got Modric, for instance, who I feel like is a better card than Luis Alberto's. Even Tonali. If you want to use Tonali's League SBC card, don't even go for the future stars. His League SBC card is not okay. It's not on par in terms of stat for stat, but I just think this card, it'll be cheap. Don't get me wrong, it will be cheap. I'm not going to guess a price, but I think it will be relatively reasonably priced. And if you're a fan of him or the club, you're laughing because it's definitely a usable card. But I just think there'll be better ones out there. Especially for the price point as well, even. For the price point. Let's talk about De Jong. He has himself a Team of the Year card. And he also has himself this inform. I like this card. I do think it's a good card. Good passing, good vision. Not very good, but reasonably good agility. His balance could do with a boost. But great reactions, great composure, very good dribbling and ball control. As a box-to-box midfielder in particular, he's going to be very good because he's got moderate defensive stats. He's better at attacking, sure, but he can defend, and especially if you give him a powerhouse, for instance, to boost the passing, not that you need to, but he'll also boost that defensive stats. You're laughing. Stamina's good. You could boost the strength if you want to. You could boost the pace acceleration. I say it's a good card. I don't know how much he costs, so you'll have to take it with a pinch of salt that he's going to be affordable, but with that being said, I do like that card. I think it has a lot to offer in that box-to-box role. And the comparison between him and Luis Alberto, I know the stats are kind of similar across the board, but because De Jong has better base defensive stats, I feel like as a CM, that works better. It depends what formation you play, of course it does, but if you want to use Luis Alberto as a cam, feel free. I just don't think he has the mobility for that. As a box-to-box, he doesn't have the defensive stats, so that's why I think De Jong is the better card, despite the fact that he's one overall lower. Let's move on to Decora. Now, this guy, just as a pure CDM, looks the business. Okay, many will argue, oh, he doesn't have the composure. Doesn't matter. Honestly, it just doesn't do anything this year. I don't care what anyone says. The reactions are in and around where you'd kind of hope they would be. Any better than that would be amazing, but it's fine the way it is. Decent ball control, decent dribbling, considering you're not really going to be running with him. I know he says he's a cam. Don't play him as a cam. Convert him down to a CDM, and you are laughing. That card is a very, very good card to play as a CDM, especially if you boost the defensive stats by basically 10 across the board. You get like 91 slide tackle, 99 stand tackle, 94 defensive awareness, and 98 interceptions. He has insane stamina, and he'll have very good strength on him as well. So there's nothing not to like about that card, except maybe the high attacking work rate. All you need to do is say to him, look, stay back while attacking, or even drop between the defenders, depending on what you use. It should override the work rate, and you should be in a very, very good spot. I do like that card, and I would, even on paper, recommend it. Let's move on to Kostic. Now, in real life, this card, or rather this player, is insane. In game, I don't know how to feel, really, because he doesn't have agility or balance. I think is he got a 2-star weak foot? Yeah, 2-star weak foot, 3-star skills, high work rates, because, of course, he's essentially converted from a left-back over the last few seasons. He's got a great dynamic image, if that's something that tickles your pickle. But, I mean, you look at it, you think, yeah, it's not bad. But, I don't know, in key areas, considering you are going to be using this as maybe a left mid or a winger, is he really the kind of player that you want? He has no attack positioning. His finishing isn't great. His short passing is only 81. You'd hope that would be a little bit better. His balance and agility just not that great. His composure, I'm not bothered by it really. Defensive stats are good, but are you really going to use that in the position that he is? I don't think so. The stamina is very good as well. I think it's decent for like a left wing back, but who plays left wing back in FIFA? They don't really work. If you are one of the minority there, then you're laughing. This card is brilliant for you, right? But if you don't play wing backs, then I just don't see where this card can fit in. I'm sure you can have fun with it if you're a fan of him or the player, or the club. But other than that, I just don't really see where anyone would play this. Shame. Volland, I've been hoping this guy would get an inform for ages, and considering this is I think his first inform, he's up from an 82 to an 84. It's not bad. I mean, it's not meta. Of course it's not, but his base card is actually very good, considering even now you look at the stats, you think to yourself, well, actually, yeah, he's got some decent building blocks, and they've built on it well. 87 finishing, 90 shot power, 87 long shots. That's brilliant. Pace boost needed, of course. Short passing and vision for a striker is good. You'll be hard pressed to find that on top strikers, to be fair. His dribbling and ball control are okay. His reactions are okay. His balance is good, for someone of 5'10", 4-star weak foot, high work rates. The high work rate's a bit annoying, but yeah, the reactions and the balance are good. The composure is, if you believe in it, is okay. The agility is a little on the low side, but he's not one of those players who's meant to feel super agile. You could maybe try and boost that up if you really want to. The stamina's good. The strength is good. I like the card, right? If you use a striker as a hold-up player, you will be able to get on with Volland. He is not bad at all. Decent little player. Let's move on to let's skip over. No, let's not skip over. Let's talk about Kylian Mbappe, because we're going to do that thing again where we go and compare them, right? So let's move over and let's have a little cheeky comparison here. So we have I've done it backwards, but we have the new 93 here, and we have the middle ground inform. Thereabouts as the 92, or the previous inform I should say, and then we have the base card. Now the base card is considerably cheaper, as you would expect, than the more recent card, or even the middle ground. The in-game stats have actually been boosted fairly significantly from the base card to the 93, which is something you didn't get with Ramos, and it does beg a question: why do it for Mbappe but you can't do it for Ramos? There needs to be a consistency there between the cards. This is a bigger jump from the 89, which is what Ramos is, to the 93, which is what Ramos isn't. It's a bigger jump, and yet he has that massive jump even from the 89 to the 92, which is the same level as Ramos. Thereabouts, I think. Is it? I don't know. He still has over 100 in-game stats boost, whereas Ramos has got like 40. It's just not consistent. Is that boost significant enough to warrant the price jump? Only you can answer that. It is a significant in-game stats boost, though. Even from the 92 to the 93, he's gone up by what, 42? I mean, that could maybe 50, 60. That would have been a nice boost from the 92 to the 93. In my opinion, right, they need to make it so that there is a significant boost between the cards. Otherwise, why are you going out and spending an extra 400,000 coins on It's 400k extra on Xbox and it's 500k extra on PlayStation to get the 93 as opposed to the 92. There needs to be more than a 40 in-game stat boost. There needs to be a 50, 60, 70 in-game stat boost. Going from the base to the 93, the jump is going to feel really good. But going from the 92 to the 93, I just don't really see there's any point. If you have the 92 as a red pick, for instance, don't worry about, oh, I need to get the 93. If you've bought the 92, honestly, don't even worry about going for the 93. The jump isn't significant enough, in my opinion. You'd already have quite a few stats maxed out at 99 anyway. So I honestly, I wouldn't not worry about it. If you've still got the 89, maybe then consider going up. But it's such a big jump. 1.4 million just to get the 92 on top of what you've already paid for that base card is quite bad. Rather than sort of go back and have a look at Ben Yedder and come back and have a look at Ben Yedder, what we'll do is just skip straight over. So the Ben Yedder card is the only other card left to talk about, and this is an interesting one from so many different angles. So the jump between the 83 and the 87 in terms of price is absolutely mental. Obviously, because he's only an 83 base and he goes up to an 87 inform. That's the inform that's currently in packs. But if you look at the in-game stats boost, I mean, is that a huge boost, really? 136 in-game stats boost for a 5 overall rating. In my opinion, kind of needs to be higher than that. However, the real comparison to be made here is the 87 to the 88. We were talking about Mbappe not having a massive boost in stats. Well, look at the state of that. I mean, that is what? 20, 25? 20, yeah, 20, no, less than that. I can't do maths. It is less than that, isn't it? Of course it is. It's 23. I don't know why I said 25. It's a 23 in-game stat boost from the 87 to the 88. That's shocking. Now, pinch of salt needed here because I would imagine Ben Yedder will get himself a winter refresh, possibly Friday. If that's the case, then that 88 could go to an 89 or a 90. The 87 could go to an 88 or an 89. Then you'll start to see some more in-game stat boosts. So, again, take it with a pinch of salt. And yes, the Player of the Month version of this card is still available and is better than the 87. But honestly, for a 23 in-game stat boost, it's just, I just don't care. I don't care enough. But then, the Player of the Month version is cheaper. You get packs back for it, and you may have some untradables. So there's definitely a trade-off here. The price of that Player of the Month now, all of a sudden, is nowhere near as bad as people thought it was initially because of the price of this 87 rated card. It's a very interesting card, this. It's a very interesting situation. The Mbappe one is interesting for a different reason. The 92 to the 93, in my opinion, there's not enough boost there for you to... Let's go back to the other screen just a second. For the 92 to the 93, I don't think it's worth... I don't think it's worth jumping. I mean, that's a great card, but I don't think it's worth the jump from the 92. If you still have the 89, there's definitely a reason to upgrade, but it's a lot of money, so you need to be sure Mbappe is the card you want to invest in for the long term. And then, of course, Ben Yedder, if you've got the 83, you need an upgrade. You definitely need an upgrade. Is it worth going to the 87? I think so, personally, because this card is mad again. He's not, I mean, in terms of, like, comparison, he's not that far off Mbappe. I mean, his passing is better in terms of, like, free kicks and, I don't know, actually. Yeah, just his free kicks are better, actually. But yeah, Mbappe's passing is probably a little bit more refined. But in terms of, like, everything else, I mean, his stamina, yeah, that's better. And his dribbling is better by a few points here or there. You've got much better balance on Ben Yedder. But you don't really... And you have the same composure, but obviously the dribbling and ball control much better on Mbappe. You'd expect it to be for a 6 overall higher. But that Ben Yedder card, honestly, it's a nice jump from the 83. But the problem is, the 88 is that little bit better and a little bit cheaper, and you get packs back and you can use untradables. Okay, there's, again, that word trade-off, because you can sell this version if you don't like it. the player of the month, you are stuck with it, but I don't think you'll mind. And in my opinion, he will get an upgrade on Friday. So there we go. I don't think the 87 is worth it personally unless you pack it untradeable, but I think the player of the month is now definitely worth it, having seen the price of that 87 and given the upgrade potential. And if you still have the 83, you desperately need help, because that is a card that is massively out of date. That may have been an extremely long-winded video, but there was no way to cut it down. I actually spent 12 minutes on the reserves earlier, so I had to start that video again. But I'm hoping that this has given you some insight as to how I feel about each individual card. I am, of course, looking for specific things based on my playstyle, but I'm trying to be as diverse as possible. If you want to see this every week, feel free to let me know in the comments. I more than understand if you don't, though, so don't worry about it if it wasn't your bag, but thank you for sitting through the entire video, I guess. If you have enjoyed it, though, like I said, and you do want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until the next time, goodbye.
Football Index. The game changed. Download the app now.